Hey, it's Kilobyte here, and in this video we've got a 95 Mazda 626 with the 4-cylinder and automatic transmission, and the transmission gear selector no longer makes a difference on the car going into gear. So just to show you what it looks like, you can move the gear selector up and down. Up here in the dash, it never changes. That's because the transmission is not actually changing gear. Now, what has happened is the transmission cable where it connects to the linkage of the transmission, it is popped off, and that's fairly common on these as they wear. That's definitely a wear item, and it can cause the plastic bushing, I'm not sure what it's technically called, to wear out, and it'll pop off, and you'll end up stranded somewhere, not being able to get the car into a gear or even potentially back into park. So, you know, it just depends on what gear it was in when it came off. So I'm going to show you where this is at and some ways to address the issue. All right, so here is the engine. You're looking in from the driver's side, and we're gonna go look right down in here. I'm hoping I can get this thing to focus on it. You have right here, this is the transmission cable, and if you follow it down, I'm hoping that you can see the little linkage. All right, it should be pretty centered and focused. You'll see a little pin that sticks out on a lever, and that cable will go right next to it. So that cable is supposed to go on that pin, and it has come off. So short term, if you can reach down in there, you can put it back on the pin. It is pretty tight fit. You want to move this up, reach down like so, and I can actually move the cable and put it on the pin, and I'm hoping you can see that. It's now on the pin, so I could get it to change gears once, maybe twice, before it pops back off. There's a few ways to address the issue. You can, from the dealer, buy a whole new cable. That's what they may try to get you to do. Of course, they'll want to put it on, and you're looking at, you know, 150 bucks or so. And that's really not what you need. What you can do is buy the actual, and again, I'm not sure what you call it. It's a bushing or something, and supposedly those are like 15 bucks or less, and you can put those on the end of the cable and then slide it on. I've not done that, but that is supposed to be how it works. You can get an axle end cap. So this is an axle end cap. Get my camera to focus. All right, it's there we go, non-threaded axle end cap. You can also do a E-clip. So I've got an assortment of E-clips. Now I think the axle end cap is an easier way to do it, but they may be harder to find. These you can pick up at your hardware store or auto parts store, whereas these weren't so easy. I actually had to order some off the interweb, but anyway, so if you can reach down and put the end cap on, great. What I'm going to do is remove the airbox, and this will give us better visibility. If nothing else, it'll let you see it in this video easier. So to move the airbox, you got a 12 mil bolt down here and 2 on this side, and my camera keeps wanting to focus on the bottom right. It is stupid. So you're going to remove those bolts. There are again 12 mil, and we'll pull. You got to remove this. It's got a, there it is, right under here. You've got to push up, squeeze it, and then slide it out. There we go. You want to remove this one, slide that out. Those two are on the same wire harness piece, so just move them out of the way. There is a vacuum line, vacuum hose right here. Pull it out, just leave it sitting. All right, we'll unclip this, unclip that. We'll need a Phillips to remove, to loosen this screw. Then we'll be able to pull the top piece off. And then when we do the bolts, you also got to get these. I think this is an 8. On the other end's an 8. And you can actually, or you can remove it at this spot, but either way, your choice. So we got the airbox out of the way. A couple things. The nuts that were holding this front piece off on our 10 mil, not 8, I think I said 8 earlier. You'll want to pull the coil cable off, move that over. That'll get you access in here. Like I said, a little more visibility. And you can see right above my finger is the pin, and you can see the cable is right behind it. So obviously you want to move the cable onto the pin, and now we're going to take one of the axle end nuts, and we're going to put it on there, and we may have to get a pair of pliers to squeeze it, but we'll get that on there and try it out. And we're back. So hopefully you can see this. It is now on, and I will tell you I used a 3/16 inch E-clip, and it was a bit of a bear. Had to have someone use this to hold it tight and then reach down and get that E-clip on, but it did finally go on. And again, it's 3/16 inch. The axle, non-threaded axle end nut would have also worked had I decided to go that route. I did check it, and I had it on just squeezed on by hand, but you'd have to use a needle nose with lots of patience and dexterity or something like that to squeeze it on. And I just went with the E-clip because it worked for me. Something I do suggest you get, if you don't have it, is one of these magnetic, and it's an extension. So I can pick up the E-clip or the nut when it falls down, because yeah, it will. But anyway, that's on now. So I'm going to put everything back together. It goes back together in the opposite order of which you took it off. One thing I will mention, you should disconnect your ground battery cable. Do not short out the 2 poles on your battery. So from safety standpoint, I suggest that. Anyway, I'm going to put this back together, and we'll work the gears a few times and make sure it doesn't just pop right back off. All right, it's all back together. We're back in the car, and let's see what we got. Oh, look at that. It is shifting through all the gears. It is, I can feel the car. You might be able to see it on the video in the jerking, but the transmission is actually changing gears. Now, I will tell you, before I actually put all that on, I came in here, turned it to the on position without trying to start it, just to the on position, and with my foot on the brake, moved the gear shift back and forth, and was fairly rough with it to make sure that that thing's not going to just pop off. It is all the way on, and again, that's with the E-clip. It should last for some time. No, you know, your mileage may vary, but this thing is up and running again. And a couple mentions on that lever. If the lever is held on with a 10 mil, if yours can, if you can get yours loose, you can pull the lever out and have access to that pin. You can, instead of using the real bushing or an E-clip or the axle nut cap nut, you can, if you can get that lever off, drill a small hole in the end of it, put it back on, put the cable on, and slide like a Carter pin or something like that that'll fit in that hole, and that'll also work. But E-clip should work, and I think we're good. If it does come off, I'll let you know how long it lasted. Anyway, hope this was helpful. If so, please like, subscribe, comment, and God bless.